one of the things that I want to make you aware of, I still go by the brand Trap Yoga Bae. A lot of people still know me as Yoga Bae. A lot of times when people reach out to book me, they want to book me for Yoga Bae. And I was talking to a really amazing friend of mine, Lala Milan, and she went from like mostly comedy to she like hosts all kinds of dope shit now. I don't know what's out and what's not out, so it's not my place to tell my friend's business, but she's just doing some amazing things. And I remember last summer, both Lala and I got booked for Revolt World in Atlanta. We both live in LA. They tried to book me for yoga for the wellness stage, and I was like, no, I'm a speaker. I got a fucking master's degree. I am a positive psychologist. I've coached 7,000 bitches to greatness. Y'all are not gonna fucking play me, right? And they was like, fine, you could be one of 5 panelists on the wellness stage, but that $10K fee you want, baby, we don't know you as no motherfucking speaker $1,000. You want it or not? And I remember going to Lala and being like, what the fuck? Like, I am literally a Forbes ranked yoga instructor. I am number 3 out of 8 in America for yoga. I also believe that I'm actually a better speaker and more transformative and more inspirational than yoga, but yoga was my claim to fame and my entryway. And my friend told me, the problem is you're thinking that they see you in that way, and you think that you're going to be able to skate over and you don't got to start from the bottom. So you take everything that you learned as Trap Yoga Bae and you bring that same high level of production, energy, hijack every stage, do everything you can, but be willing to be one of 5 panelists and not expect that they'll give you the whole fucking stage. She wouldn't tell me what they paid her, so I know it was a lot. And so when we're going from the corporate world where you create worlds and you got your pay and all that, I'm not telling you to settle. I'm telling you to open up what your KPIs are. Open up what your ROIs are. And for those of y'all who are not in business, KPIs are key performance indicators and ROIs are returns on investments, right? And so what that looked like was people need to see things to understand what it is. I know that I'm a phenomenal speaker. I want to show that to the world. So everything can't just be about the money anymore. It has to be about other things. For me, it's the content. I needed content to show people that when I get on a stage and there's thousands of people in the room, I can entertain them without shaking my ass. That when I get on a stage with 1,000 people in the room and you put me on a panel with 5 people, I can respectfully hijack that shit where people tell me I did a great job hosting when it was not my thing. And so when I got into Revolt World, I hired someone and I said, hey, you're my videographer, and what you're going to do is you're going to follow me around and you're going to show how I'm the main fucking character in any room that I step into. And because you be afraid and confused when everybody makes you a supporting actor in their world, that's fine. But in my shit, bitch, I'm number 1. So any content that made it to my page, it looks like I'm the main character because this is my motherfucking world. And yes, I am. And so then from that, increasing what my return on my investment is, the content is more important than the 10K. But you have to know what the goal is. And so sometimes we see things like, oh, Rihanna did the Super Bowl for free, but y'all not seeing the rollout. Oh, Usher did the Super Bowl for free, but you're not seeing no rollout, baby. This was to set the stage for a world tour. This was because you got NPR, Tiny Desk lined up. So it's not just about, oh, how do I go out there and do stuff? Because if you just show up and be like, oh, well, I got to start at the bottom. It is what it is. I got to pay my dues. Then you end up doing what we talked about earlier, which is exploiting yourself. But when you know the story, get to the end, and work it back and say, these things make sense in the storyline. It makes sense. And none of my time is wasted. So now when I'm pitching myself as a speaker, I still can legally say things like, and ethically say things like, oh, I've been on the stage at Essence Festival twice. I sold out in 36 seconds. The only person who had a higher wait list than me was Michelle Obama. And after she heard about my class, she sent me a signed version of her book. Doesn't matter if I was a speaker or a yoga instructor. I sat on that fucking stage. So how do you take those accomplishments? How do you take the story that you've had and translate it to the next thing with a very thin layer of humility that says, in some ways, yesterday didn't matter. I'm ready to build my shit from the ground up, but I'm not starting over because I am smarter than I ever was before. And notions and moments like these is exactly why we call this topic failures, fears, and fire-ass comebacks. Because at first you saw what happened at those jobs is failures. And right now you're afraid of not making it, of not producing to the high level that you did before, not striking it out on your own and being successful as an entrepreneur. So then, like I said, you on track. So baby, what's left? A fire-ass comeback. I'm complete. I felt very passionate and excited about that. Like, girl, I feel like I wrote that down. That was giving I have a dream speech. I don't know, bitch. I don't know. But I'm really excited for you. I'm inspired. I'm inspired by this path that you're taking and the way that you're doing it. I see visual things, like visual representation of things. I saw this whole process. I saw you wanting to go to a beach, okay? And you had never been to that beach before, but you looked at pictures of the beach and you decided the sand looked like what I want, the water looked like what I want, and you packed your bag to get ready for that beach. And I see you on a path, and on that path, you can't see the beach, but you've visualized it. You've seen what it looks like. And maybe that looks like you've seen other people who do what you do. You've watched the TED Talk. Somehow you've seen what that beach is. Do you walk towards the directions that thousands of people that have taken and that you know that beach exists? Do you walk there like, oh, how many more steps? Like, no, bitch, you know it's 2 miles, or you know it's 4 miles, or you know it's a hike and you're prepared for the hike and you're ready to do it. You do not need to see the beach to know that you got on the right bikini, you got your sunscreen, you got your umbrella, you got your snacks, and you're on that path there. We decide what the end goal is, and we head towards it, knowing that it will be there when we get there. And that can be really tough for you, because in the past, people have moved the goal line and moved the finish line and told you, hey, there's a beach at the end of this trail. And then you get to the trail and they're like, yeah, the beach is here. You're here, bitch, you a worker. Go shovel some shit. But you trust in yourself, and you trust that you're going into that beach for leisurely activities, to enjoy it, to sit, to reflect, to be refreshed, to take in the sun. So it's not just about knowing what your end goal is, it's knowing your role in that end goal. But just a little tidbit in it. It's called Big Business Baddies. If you stick around, it turns into Brand Like Bae. And one of the things I do is to say, what would somebody have to experience, understand, learn, and endure in order to properly take your role in your purpose? And I mean, you going all the way back. And if I can speak freely about, what I know about you, you're saying you have to be born in the South. You have to have had a mother who was addicted, a father out of the picture, a grandmother who saw you as a star, be raised by your aunt and uncle in Kansas. You would have to have this deep-seated desire for a community that it was insatiable and never met. You would have to have created something, have it taken from you. You would have to, become a mother at this age. You would have to have a husband that supports you in this sort of way. You would have to have this education. You would have to have this thought process. You would have to have this experience. And when you think about everything a bitch would have to go through to take your role, you would realize ain't no bitch on this planet who can have what's mine. When I have you thinking about your bio and thinking about your USP, which is your unique selling proposition, or some people say unique selling position. When you think about those things, it's like, what makes me uniquely me? And that's also really helpful for myself if we take that back to forgiveness, because doing that helps me forgive myself for all of the moments that I felt like I wasted. Because I know that when I, got saved and really started loving Jesus, I was really irritated with myself for working in that strip club, being a house mom with those women. Right. And then when I decided I didn't want to work for the government, I was really irritated with myself for being a social worker. When I felt like to work for the government as a social worker, you don't really fucking enact any change. All you do is be a part of the red tape system. And that irritated me. And a lot of jobs that I had that felt like non sequitur, a waste of time. And I talk about this to you guys before, but now that I'm doing what I'm doing, operating in my purpose, it all makes sense. You can see that I have customer experience, right? Customer experience. You can see, how important it was for me to be a house mom in a strip club, to orchestrate the energy and pick the right women to put in a room. You can see that I was a social worker and I learned how to care and ask powerful questions and show up. You can see that I was a recruiter, because one of the things that most people hate in business is sales. And y'all, I didn't pull each and every one of y'all in. And, baby, wasn't I not comfortable? You didn't realize it was a sale call. I was like, this is your interview. It's a lot of bitches out there and only one Coach Britteny. Why you? And those are all of those energies that I learned from each and every experience that I had. But in that moment, I felt like I was off my path. I felt like I was doing shit that don't make sense. I felt like I was just trying to get the money and make it to the next step. I felt lost. Could y'all believe that up until the age of 28, I identified as a lazy person who does not finish what she starts? If you go back to the year 2012 and you look up Samuel Merritt University and you scroll about an hour and 4 minutes, something like that up in there, you will see me deliver the commencement speech and get on that stage and say, here are all the ways that I start shit that I didn't finish. I went to 5 colleges. I did all of these sort of things, and talk about me declaring on that day that I would no longer call myself a quitter or a lazy person. See, I don't even know how to say it no more because I just don't identify as that hoe. But I said, from this day forward, I am a finisher. A finisher. Our problem and our solution does not live on the same frequency. Our fear and our love does not live on the same frequency. We cannot get to where we want to go in life by paying too much attention that we're not there. So, if you are not at that beach, bitch, I need you to pick out the bathing suit. I need you to decide what kind of tequila you gonna be drinking. If it's a tequila sunrise, or I don't know, baby, it might be a Henny Coke. This is your story. But if you're not ready to cross the finish line, you can do everything possible right now so that when you do, shit feels sweet. I know I said a lot, and I'll be like, and I'm done. And to be fair, in my head, I'll be like, okay, next sentence is the last sentence. And then I go for another 7 minutes. But here's the thing. I did not choose a profession that asks me to keep it short, to keep it sweet, to keep it concise. I don't apologize. I built a world that works for me. I'm transparent about who I am, and I allow you guys to make a conscious decision without fear if you want to continue. And that is self-love. That is self-acceptance. That is belief in self. Ain't shit to change about you unless you don't like it.
Good afternoon, President Hines, members of the Board of Trustees, regents, faculty, and staff. To the members of the class of 2014, I offer my congratulations to you and your family and friends. I'm sure that many of our family and friends feel that they have earned an honorary degree at Holy Names, a degree in which I cannot promise you. But what I can promise you is many heartfelt thank yous. We give much gratitude to the faculty and staff of this wonderful university for their hard work, dedication, and impartation of knowledge that challenge our mental beings and sometimes our mental health as well. We're here today because we're celebrating the end of what we started. We are finishers, and this is something to celebrate. Yes. I have a confession to make. I was not always a finisher. I was notoriously a non-finisher. In high school, I was a student with A's for the first marking period and F's for the second and third. Before coming to Holy Names, I started at 2 other universities, and I didn't finish, in case you were wondering. 3 times the charm. There were moments when I wondered whether not finishing was a part of my DNA, an unchangeable characteristic that doomed me to a life of failure. Why couldn't I just finish? Jobs, relationships, fitness routines, New Year's resolutions. Every time I didn't finish, it was a cruel reminder that I wasn't a finisher, or so I thought. Well, not finishing is not a part of my DNA, and it isn't a part of yours either. I had to learn how to be a finisher. Being a finisher means having hope, and hope holds uncertainty. Hope means relying on others. Hope means believing that tomorrow will be different than today. I spent a long time bracing myself for the worst, preparing for disappointment, expecting people to let me down, and I had to let go of that. I had to make room for hope. I had to learn to trust others, and in trusting others, I had to learn to trust myself. Because, you see, every time you break a promise to yourself, you erode a tiny bit of trust, and it adds up over time. So I had to learn to keep the promises I made to myself. Letting others down is horrible, but letting yourself down, now that's just the worst. As Langston Hughes wrote, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. My path, much like many of you, has not been a straight one to graduation. It's had twists and turns. Sometimes it seemed like I was heading backwards instead of forward. Finishing takes faith. Martin Luther King once said, faith is taking the first step when you can't see the whole staircase. Faith takes courage. Faith takes humility. There were times when I had to get on my knees and pray because I didn't know what else to do, but I knew that I wanted to finish. So, I finished the college application 3 times. I finished my papers, many. I finished my exams, most I passed. I finished college. We finished college. And every time we finish something, big or small, let it remind us that there is a finisher in us. There is someone in us who sets goals and reaches them. We're finishing one goal, and there's a sense of nervousness in the pit of my stomach because I know that finishing is another word for beginning. That means a new goal is on the horizon, one that may seem even further away than getting our bachelor's degree. People are asking us, so what now? Yes, we're nervous, but our time here has allowed us to exercise our finisher muscles. And I know that we're prepared for any goal that we put our minds to achieving. Ralph Boston once said, being the first to cross the finish line makes you a winner in only one phase of life. It's what you do after you cross that finish line that really counts.
A deep, deep thank you goes out to you, Baefriend, for tuning into the Shift Show. I'm Britteny Floyd-Mayo, founder of Trap Yoga Bay, your positive psychology advocate, and master confidence coach. I'm so glad that you joined me on this journey of self-discovery and transformation. My goal with Shift Show is to bring you real, raw, and unfiltered clips from live coaching sessions that can inspire you to live your best life and get your shit together. I'm so glad you joined me on this journey of self-discovery and transformation. Don't forget to follow me on social media at Trap Yoga Bay to find out how you can be in the room live, as well as catch behind the scenes content and daily inspiration. You can listen to Shift Show everywhere you listen to audio. You name it, bitch, I'm there. Thanks for being a part of my Bayfriend community. Stay fabulous, keep shining, and remember, you can get your shift together so you can keep your shit together. Until next time, Bayfriends. Mwah.